You're listening to the Claret and Big Blue podcast on the Pass the Gravy Podcast Network.
Damn, Daniel.
Who do you think you are? I am. It's Pettis to Jones. Oh, what a catch by Daniel Jones.
Taken away by Wicks. Lantini. Oh, it's glorious.
Play action. Over the middle. Touchdown, Giants.
Give me a hell yeah.
And we are live.
We'll do it live.
Welcome everyone to Claret and Big Blue, probably the only podcast on the internet dedicated to West Ham United and the New York Giants. That's right, football and football balls for everyone's taste. I am Mike Fish, and as always, I am joined by Mr. Alex Middleton. How you doing, buddy?
I'm okay, I guess. How are you, my friend?
I'm hanging in there. After an topsy-turvy up and down weekend. We'll talk about the positive first. Max Verstappen, woo! Formula One world champion.
Yep, that's our guy.
Baby.
That's our guy getting the dub. Max Dubstappen. That's what I always called him. You guys know I always say that about him on this show. Max Dubstappen. Fuck you, Louis Hamilton. Not
Louis
today,
Hamilton.
buddy.
That's what you get when you mess with the warrior.
You don't go at it's Team Red Bull, right? Don't fuck with Team Red Bull, dude.
Because they've got wings, bitch.
Yeah, obviously, Max.
Fly right
Although,
past you.
Why was it controversial? I saw that people were bitching about that.
It's.
We're talking F1 on the podcast today, boys.
By the way, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and I just noticed for the first time ever, StreamYard has got their shit together, and you can actually comment live if you're watching on Twitter, which is pretty sweet. Like Lydia. Yeah.
Lydia.
Vo.
Yeah. FYI. Yeah.
Yeah, Lydia. Thanks for joining us on YouTube there.
It's clearly a Max Verstappen reference.
Maybe, yeah. But yes, so what the controversy, it's basically what it is a bunch of British people who wanted Lewis Hamilton to win,
people.
my people, are upset because...
As we refer to them here in the States.
Indeed. So they're unhappy that Lewis lost at the last second in the last lap. They're crying foul about the rules, but as far as I'm concerned, there was nothing wrong with the rules.
Why? Because he was too slow?
It's about the safety car and pit in and blah, blah, blah. But basically what it is if the roles were reversed and Max Verstappen was in the lead and Lewis Hamilton passed him on the last lap in the exact same situation, those same people that are bitching about it would be saying, oh, that's why Lewis is the greatest of all time. He never gave up. Blah, 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 blah. They'd be talking about how amazing it was.
Exactly what they'd be saying.
So, whatever. Cry me a river, as my old friend Justin Timberlake would like to say.
More like loser Hamilton. Am I right? Get it?
Loser Hamilton and Max Verstappen.
Dubsteppen, yep.
Because that's what you say every week. That's your catchphrase.
I always say that. It's in our F1 segment that we always do.
Sometimes it gets edited out the show for some reason. I don't know why, but
it doesn't always make it. Yeah, it doesn't always make it on the podcast. That's a thing I do with guests. If you want to try and fuck with a guest, you're like, no, this is something we definitely do with every guest, and then you do something that you don't do with every guest, and they're like, oh, okay, I'm lulled into a false sense of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, if you miss our Formula One chat, it's on our Patreon that doesn't exist, so you should. Check that out.
Go sign up to that, but don't.
Yeah, but don't because it doesn't exist.
But don't buy merch instead.
Merch.cbbl.com. So UPS. So my Christmas sweater. Do you call them sweaters over here or jumpers? Because I always I've been here so long.
Definitely don't call them jumpers.
Okay,
because I call them jumpers. That's a very British sounding thing.
I've been in America so long that
you got your jumper on there, mate.
Exactly. So, but I haven't been here long enough, so kind of things are kind of intertwined. So I'm not now 100% sure. Is that the British thing or the American thing? I can't quite remember. My brain's like melting. But anyway, yeah, I ordered the.
What do you call the things that you walk on your feet? like Nikes or Adidas, what would you call the things that would go on your feet?
Trainers.
That's dumb. That's not what they're called. They're called shoes.
See, John Fred knows what he's talking about.
All right, John. Okay.
I'm calling it a jumper from now on.
I'm just saying, like, I think jumper cables or like a jumpsuit.
Yeah, I have no idea why it's called a jumper, to be honest. Because it's not like...
you don't jump around in them.
Oh, I'm about to do some jumping. I need to put on this knitted
warm it up.
Sweater. Yeah, I need to be warmed up before I'm jumping. So I put my jumper on. Now it makes sense.
Yeah, it's dumb. I don't get that. Shout out to John, though, for joining. A Chelsea fan hopping on a West Ham pod. Appreciate you, brother. Gravy gang.
Whoop, whoop. But yes, so I ordered that. It was hopefully going to be here because I followed Teespring's advice about if you want to get it by a certain date, order it by a certain date. So I did, and then they sent it via UPS. But then apparently at some point UPS was like, we're tired, so we're just going to hand it over to USPS. So and now it's sitting in my local post office, just sitting there waiting for someone to eventually pick it up and bring it over. Which is annoying. Like the post office is literally like a mile away. I can walk up and grab it.
There, dude. Be like, I want my stuff.
Can I have my shit, please?
Can you do that? I don't think you can do that.
I don't know. Maybe you can if you've got ID. I don't know. But they're like, hey, I got notification that my thing has been here for like 2 days. What are you doing? Give it to me.
Do they have a postal service in England, or do they just use owls?
It's called Royal Mail.
Do they use owls though?
They don't.
Fuck.
But I think
sometimes
they're very...
you just make me think England's way less cool than it really is.
The problem is with using owls is they're not very trustworthy because then, if you go, hey, have you got my package for Mr. Smith? And they're like, who? I said, Mr. Smith. Who? Forget it.
It's pretty good. I like that.
Thanks. Off the top of my head.
They just leave it to the wizards, I guess.
It's probably for the best. And then they could be like, oh, you're missing it, and you go, Postal DF or what? I don't know what the fuck spell.
Yeah, whatever
the package is there.
Done.
It's like literally it's faster than Amazon Prime. The Wizard Mail. It's pretty good. Anything else you want to ask about British culture?
I'll just ask what I think of it. Not at the moment though.
Jump in at any time with your questions.
All right, yeah, I will.
So we have got a fun show lined up. We're not going to be talking about fun things though because no one won anything in the last week. But we've got a fun game we're going to be playing on later on, and then we've got a new sponsor to reveal. Even Alex doesn't know about this.
I did not know about this.
Oh, we got a big money deal, baby.
Nice.
So let's I guess jump into it. Giants, Chargers, 21-37 to the Chargers. I don't know why, but each and every Sunday, moments before the Giants game begins, it's like there is like a block in my brain that I almost forget about everything that's happened before, and suddenly I'm giddy and, woo, the Giants are playing, let's go! And then I get disappointed every week, and
I'm ready to get hurt again. I do that too. I'm like, I'm going to want to buy a gun and shoot myself in the head after this game. But right now I'm ready to get hurt. Fuck me up. And it happens.
Also, the big thing, I was very disappointed just to start the game. I was like really excited to see what Jake from State Farm could do for us at quarterback. But then we got the neck.
We got Mike Glennon, which, man, we trusted him to do a lot that we probably shouldn't have done. But I don't know. I thought we ran the ball well, which says a lot for our offensive line. I still don't trust our offensive line at all, but it felt like we had running lanes throughout that game. And I feel like the Giants have always run into the ground the whole establish the run. You got to establish the run. Hey, you got to establish the run. Yeah, we're only getting a yard or two a carry, but we got to establish that run. And it was like they do that sometimes to a lot of times this season to a detriment when they're not running the ball well. And in this game, they were running the ball well, but they were like, got to establish the pass, though. It's like, no, we have Mike fucking Glennon. We don't need to establish the pass. We were able to get to the 50-yard line, then we fucked it up, and then we were like, hey, 3rd and 2, what we should do is we should throw the ball. Throw the ball. And Mike Glennon throws it short of Kenny Galladay. We just Glennon's not an accurate quarterback. And, he's a backup. We can't really expect a ton out of him. But to rely on Mikey Glennon to get shit done when we are running the ball well. Let Booker, let Saquon run the ball. Like we were able to get some movement out of that. Like we were on the field for our defense way too long because we would kill drives with stupid passes where, okay, well, we only got 3 on first with the run. Let's pass it again. Okay, 3rd and 7 with passing down. We pass it and we fuck it up because Mike Glennon is Mike Glennon. And it just doesn't get done. But if you would just stick to running the ball when it's working, we were getting pretty big chunks of yards and just not able to convert any of that stuff to points. And that was the most frustrating part. It was like we've always kind of had like, okay, well, we're passing it and not running it. And this time it was the exact opposite. And it was like on 3rd and 2, you should run it. On 3rd and 7, that's probably not the time to run it. But we were just like we were doing the exact opposite. And I understand you want to throw them off, but when you're not successful with anything, it doesn't make a lot of sense to try and go against the grain like that. And I think it was whoever the commentator was. I want to say it was Mark Schlereth that was calling the game. He even pointed out that like they were trying that weird trick play where I think in the first half where they're like, all right, we're going to run handoff, turned into a reverse, turns into a toss back to Mike Glennon, who's already like 87 yards behind the line of scrimmage at this point. And then he chucks it to Saquon and it's like, cool, you got back to the line of scrimmage. You got 1 yard. It was like, why would you want to start a trick play where you're 85 yards behind where you started the play? Now you have to go all the way back there to even get positive yardage. It made no sense. And Mark Schlereth,
I think that trick play, I think we ended up behind the line of scrimmage. Like we ended up further back.
Closer back. Yeah, it was right around the line of scrimmage. It might have been less. It might have been more. But Mark Schlereth, I think it was Mark Schlereth, the guy that was doing the play-by-play, was like, when nothing is going right offensively for you, it's definitely not the time to call a trick play. Because if nothing that we're doing that we normally would do is going right, why would the trick play with all kinds of room for error work?
Now, I remember him saying was like, hey, let's put that back in the closet and never bring that out again in maybe 6 years' time or something.
Like, if we were a good team that was moving the ball up and down the field and the Chargers were guessing where you're going, yeah, that's when you throw a trick play in there. They knew exactly what we were doing. And it was like the second we had the handoff, that got him. Nope, now it's reverse. Okay, cool. We have a guy there too. And then, oh, hey, Glennon's 14 yards behind where we started. Toss it to him.
Also, while he's talking about this, Alex O also joins us on YouTube. On the bright side, the Giants kicker and punter are doing good.
Kicker, yes. Punter, no. Riley Dixon is not a great punter. I think he's gone at the end of the year. I suggest you draft Sam Houston State's Matt McRobert, but
that'd be sweet.
Or just sign him. I don't know if he's going to get drafted, but still, we want Matt McRobert on the team. So let's get that train rolling at Matt McRobert on Twitter. But Riley Dixon had that one where we looked like we were going to go for it at midfield. Then we didn't go for it, and then we had to switch it. We didn't burn a timeout, so they had like no time to set up. The second that like they were all lined up, they had to snap it immediately. Dixon punts it out of the end zone. There's nobody down there to try and stop it before getting the touchback. So it was like I think we netted like 30 yards of like of field position at all on that, and it's not worth it. Defense, not great. Weren't really able to do anything. I think Justin Herbert's a really good quarterback, but like that play at the end of the first half where he just chucked it up and it was about like a 57-yard throw to the end zone and they just got it. It was just like, yeah, we're fucked. Like, I thought we were going to lose this game anyways. It just nothing could go right. And I don't really know what you do. It's hard to evaluate a team where your quarterback's out. Mike Glennon's clearly not the guy. I was hoping that maybe, Daniel could go this week. Apparently he's already out. They said he's not cleared for contact, so he's out against the Cowboys. That's a loss. It's just it's hard to watch this team at this point when I think
we should throw in Jake this week against the Cowboys because obviously the mic hasn't worked. So fuck it, just throw it against the wall and see if it sticks.
And I get that. My only thing is I always hate when people are like, we just signed this guy like last week. Let's do that. And I get that Cam Newton did that for 1 week, but he was running the ball. Like he wasn't a quarterback that was throwing it at that point in time and still isn't at this point in his career. And he's just not that good anymore. And we've seen how that works. Like you don't have time to like learn a whole playbook in like 3 weeks, I feel like. And to assume Jake Fromm to be able to go there and be the guy and like be the savior, and we're not expecting him to be the savior or anything, but I guess he can perform better than Glennon. But like you only have a handful of plays, and then like it's like you can only like learn 4 or 5 different ones. I feel like that he's going to remember and be able to be game ready for going forward. And that's my whole setback with just like he's had like 2-3 weeks to learn this offense. That's a lot to ask somebody to step in, whereas Glennon's been there the whole season. I understand why you give Glennon the benefit of the doubt. I think Glennon still threw 2 touchdowns, ran for 1, which is like, yeah, it was garbage time, but like he had some stats. He misses receivers. He doesn't make the best decisions, and he's kind of got a noodle arm at times.
It was very stat paddy because you could like this happened to us a few times recently where obviously teams know they've won, and so we score some cheap touchdowns at the end. It's like stat padding. But a couple of things that annoyed me was one, Mike Glennon showed he obviously had an arm, but in mountain times, like I say, he doesn't know he's learned the playbook, but it seemed like a lot. Maybe it was only once or twice, but it just seemed like a lot because I was annoyed. But the amount of times he threw the ball at someone, but he was like miles off. It was like,
and underthrowing is the worst because if you overthrow a guy, typically, I mean, it's not 100%, but when you're underthrowing, you're risking a pick way more often than you are if you're overthrowing a guy.
Right.
And it's really hard to overthrow Kenny Golladay unless you just shoot it past his head, and I'm not really worried about Mike Glennon doing that. Kenny Golladay is a guy you throw it, you let your guy go up and get it, and I think Kenny Golladay could. He had 8 targets, he only had 2 catches, something like that. Sterling Shepard only had 4 targets that whole game. Doesn't make a lot of sense when he's one of your better route runners in this this current roster that we've got. Kyle Rudolph was a positive. He had the longest like play of his career, that 60-yard catch. Graham Gano, like Alex O said earlier, that was a positive. It's just this team is really hard to watch at this point when you don't have the leader that is Daniel Jones. It's the guy that you're evaluating to see if he is the guy you want to go forward with. I don't know where this team goes from here, man. I don't know what to do. I started looking at mock drafts already, and I just want to go offensive line to be like, we can just run the ball. If you have a good offensive line, you can kind of do other stuff that works.
We definitely need to sort that out because we can't leave the defense out in the field that long every week. This is not going to work out. But also, offensively, not good. Like, say, the running game, the amount of times, like, what Saquon, I was just looking at, just to get the exact numbers because I don't want to misquote. Saquon, 16 carries, averaged 4 yards. 4 yards. And like you say, how amount of times we ran the ball with, like, 8 yards, 7 yards to go. It's like, it's not working. And then, as we mentioned, I think it was last week, where Graham Gano has scored pretty much half of our points this season. It maybe only been a couple of times, but it's annoying me. The amount of times we was at least in field goal position, and then we made a penalty, and we had to go back, and then suddenly we had to punt instead. It was just so undisciplined. It was just a mess. I just don't know what. I don't know. I couldn't see any positives coming from that game. And I like to be positive. We like to be positive on the show.
Right, we're positive vibes only, but it's just there's nothing to be positive about this time. Sunday, I'll be excited for all 5 minutes until we start getting blown up by the fucking Cowboys, and it's like I hate that. I hate going into Cowboy week knowing we're gonna lose.
The only good thing about Sunday is that it's an early game, so we have the rest of the day to drink and forget about it.
That's true. I don't know. I'm just not in a good spot right now with the Giants. Giants aren't in a good spot in general. We're such a bad team. We have another losing season, so that's 5 straight losing seasons, 8 out of 9 losing seasons.
Well, we're guaranteed
the fuck it is.
We're guaranteed a 5th straight losing season.
I don't know what to do. Is Gettleman out? I think Gettleman's probably going to be a scapegoat. Is Judge the right guy? I don't know. Who's going to be the offensive coordinator at this point next year? Can Daniel stay healthy? Should we bring in some sort of competition for Daniel Jones? I think maybe that would be better. We definitely need to bring in a backup that's worth a damn. And I understand that it's like easy to say, hey, okay, well, like you can't expect your backup to do it all, but we got to have somebody who's better than Mike Glennon, I think, to back up Daniel Jones. It's not fun.
No. So other than pain, what's your prediction for Sunday's game against the Cowboys?
It's a loss. Cowboys cover. It's a loss.
Do you think it's going to be like one of those? It's going to spank us, and it's going to be embarrassing. Like
yeah,
score like 42-7 or some shit like that.
It feels like it. Mike Glenn is not going to beat the Cowboys.
No. Well, better luck next year, I guess. Let's start looking towards the trades already. Right, before we move on to slightly better topics, I guess West Ham did slightly better. Let's catch up on the chat, on the live chat. If you are listening to us on demand on the podcast platform, just a reminder, you can join us live Tuesday night, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. John Fred said he loves museums in the UK or in England. And also, fun facts about the post offices, since you mentioned it. Ben Franklin was the first Postmaster General in the US. Franklin also held that same position in Great Britain. Ooh. Fun fact indeed. I didn't know that. Yep, shout out Alex O. We are going to be hungover Sunday anyway from the Spooktacular, Past the Gravy 8th annual Spooktacular this Saturday.
Looking forward to that. That's what I'm looking forward to this weekend, not football.
Eli Manning as an offensive coordinator. I mean,
I don't think so. He's gonna get too much money to do broadcast stuff and not have to be scrutinized by people, by his coaching decisions or anything like that. I don't think he or Peyton give a fuck about coaching. I think they could. It's like they don't have to travel. They can do it from their house and
how much money he's getting?
They're getting paid out the ass to do it. So
to literally sit on their couch and just talk about a football game they're going to be watching, rather than because it would be pretty cool, I think, to have him within the organization. But
he is. He's already a brand something, whatever he is.
But the Giants aren't going to improve enough, and then I think he would see that as a risk of tainting his aura. And I don't think it's worth it. Just leave it as is. He's a god in the Giants fans' eyes. I wouldn't even risk taking it.
Yeah.
So Giants 31, Cowboys 3. That'd be nice. That would be very nice.
That would be sick.
John Fred. Eli has a contract with ESPN, I think, and that would prevent him from being a coach of any type. Wouldn't surprise me. 100% want from in. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, to be honest, at this point?
Yeah, give it a go. Who gives a shit?
And then
get embarrassed.
And then we obviously have a spam message from Emma White. Thanks, Emma, you robot, for tuning in, bumping up our numbers. We appreciate you. Okie dokie. So let's move on. So before we move on, we've got a new game we're going to be playing. It's going to be testing Alex's knowledge. Just want to give a shout out to, since I desperately want a sponsor. So until we get a sponsor, I'm going to be highlighting our magical fake sponsor of the week. So this week, Claret and Big Blue is brought to you by shoes. Do your feet hurt? Buy shoes. Found anywhere that you find shoes. Thanks for sponsoring us, shoes. Definitely. Shout out to shoes.
We're trainers, as they say across.
Well, no, we
pond.
call shoes are shoes, but sneakers are trainers. I mean, sneakers aren't us. I guess that's us sneakers shoes.
What about boots? What do you call boots? Boots. I know that those are cleats, but boots are a Doc.
Oh yeah, we don't call cleats. They're football boots.
What are Doc Martens?
Well, that's a brand, so I guess they're Doc Martens.
No, but would they be boots?
They'd probably come under the umbrella of boots, I'd guess.
Okay.
Did I ever tell you about once back in the day when Dr. Martin used to sponsor West Ham?
I know that it did, yeah.
And they brought out some limited edition version of Doc Martens, and they were just regular Doc Martens, but they came with a tag with the West Ham badge on, and I made my parents buy me them. It was pretty sweet.
Were they sick?
They were pretty sweet, but they had the West Ham badge on, so I was.
That's tight.
It's pretty tight. Okay, so let's bring into the game. So our first time we're going to play this game, we're going to have a practice round to make it nice and simple, and then we're going to get tough with Alex. So this is the first week where we're going to be playing. How many things can you name? How many things can you
Who did that
name?
voiceover?
Me.
Oh, that's great, dude. We got a sound guy. That's cool.
How many things can you name? I was doing that earlier, so I wanted to make it sound somewhat not like me, but also I did it kind of quietly because I didn't want my wife hearing me do it and thinking, "What the fuck is that guy doing in there?" So that's where I got the sexy voiceover guy. See, I must admit, this is where the confusion comes in with UK language. So John says he needs some trainers. Does that mean he needs some sneakers, or does he need a personal trainer? I don't know. Doesn't make sense.
I think that means he needs sneakers. Lost in the translation.
Okay, so this first round, I'm going to put only 30 seconds on the clock. Normally, you're going to have a minute, but I'm going to do 30 seconds on the clock because this is a test round. So since it's almost Christmas, and it would have been awesome if I was wearing my Viva La Dimes Christmas sweater, but whatever, next week. We've got one more week till Christmas. So, how many things can you name? First category is you have to name as many of Santa Claus's reindeer in 30 seconds. And are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, and your time starts now.
Dasher, Prancer, Donner, Vixen, Blitzen, Rudolph, Comet.
Oh, two more.
Dasher and Prancer and Donner and Blitzen, something and something. Damn it. I don't know. Sneakers. Shoes.
Who's the little baby that tries to get people to fall in love?
Cupid.
Yep. And then Dancer would have been the other
Dancer.
answer. So you got all of it, and you got the bonus because technically Rudolph. That's the controversy when I was looking it up, because Rudolph isn't one of the original 8. He was like late in the band. Cupid is one indeed. Cupid Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen are the official 8. Rudolph is just a hanger-on because he's got a stupid red nose.
You really only need 8, so really I named enough.
I know, because if you have the 9th, then that's just gonna steer the sleigh one way.
By the way, this comes up because I did the whole bit on this on Pass the Gravy a couple years ago, and it showed up on my Facebook today. But the people that drive around with the antlers and the Rudolph nose on your car, like
it's embarrassing.
It's cocky as shit to think that you're Rudolph and your fucking Pontiac Prius or whatever the fuck it is. It's like, dude, you're not Rudolph, okay? Just be realistic, everybody, and like put the antlers on. But no Rudolph nose. It's like everybody can't be Rudolph. There's only one Rudolph. And you're
definitely not Rudolph.
You're
if you're
not.
If you're driving past my house, but you're supposed to stop so you can throw that PlayStation 5 down my chimney, right?
So dare to be different and don't put the Rudolph nose up. I'm cool with the antlers, just not Rudolph.
So if they don't have the Rudolph, like you just like flag them down. Which of the 8 are you? And they have to like, if they can't name them quick enough, you're like, oh, good, fair enough. See, that'd be if a woman named Donna owns a car and she did that. That'd be pretty funny.
Or a dancer, that'd be crazy. Or maybe a woman that is a dancer. Any kind of dancer.
I mean, if you were out of all the Rudolph's, the reindeer's names, which one?
Comet
would be the coolest name.
Comet would be the coolest because Comet sounds like a comet, and comets are cool.
Because Blitzen sounds aggressive in German. Vixen?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Vixen. How's it going? That's a pretty cool name.
No, Comet's the coolest. It's like Comet's the bad boy.
Well, no, is it though? Because if you was like talking to a woman, you say, "Hey, my name's Comet."
Names,
you sound like your parents are hippies, and you go, "Oh, this guy's gonna be weird. He's gonna want to do yoga every morning." I don't want to do yoga every morning. If your name's Comet, you definitely do yoga.
No, you're just fast. You just run a lot, dude.
Yeah, those people suck. I'm glad I don't have any in my truck. ... Do you? I believe Alex O is protesting too much. John, let people dream, Alex. Let them wish their car was Rudolph. And yeah, definitely don't have the Rudolph nose on my truck. Those people are
The antlers are tight. Whatever. Go with the antlers.
But what you could do, Alex, so there's a charity event once a year called the Red Nose Day charity. So you could just say you're supporting that charity.
We know all about that.
So it doesn't have
like
it might
AIDS,
not be
right? Something like that.
Well, I think it started in England. It was
clowns.
Like,
it's for clowns.
See, I'm trying to remember because there was two. There was Red Nose Day and then Comic Relief. One was supporting UK people and one was supporting African people. So I'm guessing the Red Nose Day was the local one. If they do it in America, it supports Americans. So, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so let's get to the real topic. So, talking about pasta gravy, I did find an old clip many moons ago from March 2018 when our good friend Pat taught you about West Ham fans that sing about blowing bubbles, and that was the thing that went off in your head, and you was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be a West Ham fan because I like singing songs about bubbles. So, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you a minute on the clock in round 2 of How Many Things Can You Name? So, I'm going to keep playing that until I get like a job doing voiceovers. So how many from the 28 who are in the 24 players who are in the West Ham squad March 2018 when you pledged your allegiance to West Ham United?
Oh, don't do this.
How many of those players can you name? I'm going to give you a minute on the clock and your time starts now.
I think the keeper was Hart.
Joe Hart, yep.
Right. Then we had what's his face? There was the Liverpool keeper as well. Not Roberto. Fucking Chicharito was on there. Mark Noble. Did we have Declan Rice on the senior squad at that point?
Declan Rice, yes.
Antonio was there. Marko Arnautovic. Masuaka, I believe, was there then.
Masuaku.
Cresswell was there.
Yep. Cresswell, yep.
Kuyate, was Kuyate there? Cheku Kuyate.
Cheku Kuyate was there.
Look at that. Lanzini.
Yep. That's your minute. How many did you get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm not going to list all the ones you missed out, but some of the,
Where's the keeper? The keeper.
Adrian.
I said Cresswell. I didn't say Adrian. I was gonna say Allison. I was like, I know it's not Allison.
So Winston Reed, Zabaleta, Ogbonna. You missed Ogbonna. Sam Byram. Do you even remember that guy?
He was like, we just kept loaning him out though, didn't we?
Yeah, and then João Mario.
John Mario. Yeah, he was from Inter. I fucking tore shit up with him on FIFA that year.
We did loan him from Inter Milan. Fernandez, Domingos Quina, who was like the youth player from Chelsea that just didn't happen, and he was a bit of a bitch apparently. Andy Carroll, you remember Andy Carroll, right?
Yeah, made of glass.
Always injured. And Jordan Hugill. Do you remember that guy?
The old Hugill.
He had his dream to walk out with the bubbles, and I think he did it like once, and then we sold him. Diop was not in the squad, John, on 2018.
Was Bowen? Bowen wasn't, was he?
No. Because that was, I believe...
It was like 2 years before.
Yeah, because that was our... I'm trying to think, because 2017... So that was our second year at London Stadium.
Yeah.
That was when we were still...
off relegation fairly well.
Yeah. But yeah, fun stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to play that every week, but different subjects. So if you have a suggestion of a topic that I should test Alex's knowledge about, let us know either in the comments or, tweet us at CBBPod, and we'll test him on it next week. Okay, Moving on. It's now time.
Hammer time.
Yeah. We're talking about West Ham now. So we've got 2 games to talk about. Shall we? And we could go chronologically, or should we talk about the slightly better one?
Are we going to recap that Burnley was frustrating and we should have won that game like 4 times, but we didn't?
I mean, we could talk about that one first, because that was a game that...
I think we need to bench Antonio. I think we got to sit Antonio. I think we need to. He's just not. He's not who he is. He's not the Antonio we've known, man. What happened?
Well, to be honest,
I don't know. Do we run Bowen out there? Do we run Yarmo out there? What do we do?
It just seems that we've lost our fire. Like, at no point during that game was I fearful that we was going to lose the game, but we just didn't have anything.
We don't play well. We just played to the level of our competition.
It was like I gave them a pass against Dynamo Zagreb because that was a boring game to watch, but we had like 5 youth players.
Yeah.
And
we weren't expecting to win that.
No, like I say, we said last week I didn't give it, even if we lost 10-0, I wouldn't give a shit, because we was through, group winners, didn't care. So I was like, whatever, I'll give a pass that. We've got the youth players in, and then we put our full strength team out against Burnley, and it was just like, It was just so.
They were just half-assing it, dude. Like they didn't put forth the effort in the full game. We got a half of an effort out of them. The first half, they were like, okay, we're gonna kind of do this. The second half, it was just, what are you doing? And I mean, to be fair, Burnley did they stopped us when we did have the opportunities that we did have, but it was just like we didn't create enough opportunities from what we were given. We had too many corners that we just pissed away and just didn't do anything with them. And there was some free kicks I felt like we had from pretty good range that just we didn't make anything of.
With 14 corners, and we've been known as the team.
Too many to not get anything out of.
Yeah, we've been known as a team who are like savage on set pieces. And to have 14 corners and not score one goal is pretty piss poor.
Lethargic when it came to the corners. I mean, a lot of times you usually see West Ham guys, they're running back and forth. They're kind of trying to get wherever, they're trying to set something up. It was just like, all right, corner, cool, kick it. Like, it wasn't like they were waiting to set up anything. They didn't have anything going into it. And there were so many times it was just not a well-taken corner or whatever. Then we had one of those free kicks that just was awful. It was like a field goal. It was pretty bad. The LMNOP stats were not good, Alex so points out. That's very true. I was pretty disappointed, and yeah, if you can't win the LMNOP, you're not gonna win a lot of games that way. But realistically, we should have won that game against Burnley. It should have probably been 2-0, given the opportunities that we had that we just didn't capitalize on. But it was a pretty frustrating game. I think we got to move somebody up. You got to sit. Antonio to me, just not permanently, but just to maybe, like racehorse, like where Seabiscuit needed to see another horse catching up a little bit to be like, okay, now I'm going to kick it into gear. Aubameyang, coming up against Arsenal. We don't have to get too deep into Burnley, but Aubameyang got his captaincy revoked. Arsenal's going to come out guns a-blazing, and maybe we need to have somebody that's a little bit more motivated by getting like a promotion to starting. Or, then you can bring Antonio off the bench, and Antonio's like, fuck you, why would you bench me? And then he goes out and scores. I don't know, something like that. I don't know who you really put up against him. Again, we don't really have a ton of striking ability right now. We're definitely going to have to address that in the January window.
I'll tell you who we're missing.
That's a pretty weird idea, but just I think that sometimes Antonio is the better available guy, but just he's not playing like that. And sometimes you need to sit him down for a second and be like, hey, bro, we're going to give somebody else a shot if you're not going to be the one to do it.
I'll tell you who we're missing, though, which is like very glaringly obvious right now, with 14 corners and not a single goal. Aaron Cresswell. Like, we miss him on set pieces. Like, I didn't realize he's one of those.
I didn't realize his back injury was that bad. His back injury. Right?
Yeah, and it looked like he banged into the post pretty hard. But yeah, you just figured, he'll be back in maybe next week or whatever. But yeah, it's not looking good. But he's like the drummer of a band Where it's like when he's there, you just don't really kind of notice that he's there. But if you took the drums away, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Right. Yeah.
What am I listening to?
You take him out of the starting lineup and you notice all the flaws that you had before that because he was a glue guy. He's kind of the glue that holds it together. That used to be Noble for a while, but as he got older, it just didn't work out. I just feel like I don't know. I don't think it was straight up because of Cresswell. I think we had other opportunities to do stuff. Hopefully he's back tomorrow. I don't know if he's going to be back tomorrow. I haven't looked at the injury report or whatever it is, but
I've heard people say he's not going to be available again. So,
and then if he's not available, then he's probably sitting against Norwich. But
John Fred's heading out. Thanks, John, for joining us live in the chat.
Love you, bro.
See you next week.
I don't know. I think we got to do something to change up the offense a little bit, maybe get it going. What are your thoughts? What do you think we got to do to beat Arsenal?
Yeah, I don't know. Because the problem is, I think we have our best team out there right now. Maybe switch it up in that because that's the problem we have right now. At least in our like an attacking forward, we have Bowen, Lanzini, Fornals, Benrahma, even Vlasic. When he's been coming on, he's been playing well. So it's kind of like, ideally, I guess you'd want to swap, like mix it up a bit, just to kind of so people don't know exactly what you're going to do. But then it's like, who do we drop? So maybe, like you're saying, I think maybe we could bench Antonio. Maybe save him for the last 20 minutes just to give him a bit of last bit of energy. And maybe we start Vlasic up front.
You have Vlasic? I wouldn't hate
Vlasic
that.
up front. Get him hopefully scoring some goals.
I feel like Yarmo up front, even though it's not his traditional position, like he may be a good fit in that. Like we saw Yarmolenko is pretty dangerous as a striker. We've seen with.
I mean, the Euros was hard to watch because like for the Ukraine, my God, he's like an amazing player.
He's all that they had, but just
for some reason he doesn't connect.
Embarrassing people, and it was. But I don't know if maybe it's a position. Maybe you just put him in a position where he is like the offensive point man.
So he does play out wide quite a lot for us.
Right, so maybe start him. I don't know, and then if it doesn't work, then at halftime you swap it and you throw Antonio in there. But just you do something. You're not necessarily you're doing this to maybe hope that Yarmolenko is sparked by this or something like that, and he goes out and fucking and balls. And I just think Yarmo has the talent to do it. I'm not saying that Vlasic doesn't. Vlasic would probably be fine as well. But I just think Yarmo just seems like he's a better goal scoring threat, and. Like, that's something that also then, like, okay, Antonio's like, why the fuck am I not getting this start, Moyes? And then, okay, well, Yarmo didn't work, whatever. Antonio, get your ass in there. And then, okay, I'll show you why I belong in the starting lineup. And then he goes out, scores the goal, he starts the rest of the season. Like, that's how it works. Like, I don't know if that's exactly how it's going to work. I don't know if that's the psyche that Antonio's in at this point, but I feel like we're going to play Arsenal well, man. I do.
It's a London derby. I think we'll
Arsenal drops big games, and we show up for big games. It's the Burnleys I worry about. It's those teams that I think last year, if you look at there were 3-4 games at the end of the year when we look back, and we're like, we could have beat Newcastle opening day. There were a couple of other ones that we had draws where we should have had wins. I think it was it Sheffield that we had like a 1-1 draw with at one point where it was like a last minute. It was just like there were a couple of bullshit draws that we had that when you look at those points that we gave up, we would have been in the Champions League at this point. And I'm happy being in Europe. I mean, that was really our goal at the end of last year. It was just like, if we get to Europe, like we're going to shut the fuck up. I'm happy. But like looking back, it's like those little things, if we're trying to be a team that's always top of the table, that's always competing for a Europe spot and not just a team that's, the other group in the discussion of that. Like, I don't want to be a team that's fighting for the top 8. I want to be a team that's fighting for top 6. Top 4 every single year, and until if you want to be one of those teams, you got to be able to show up against the Burnleys. You got to be able to show up against the Watfords. You got to be able to show up against the Newcastles on down years for them. You got to be able to show up against Norwich, which we've got this.
I was going to say that out of the 2 games we have in the next week,
and we play down to it. We play Man United well. We played City not awful. I don't think we played City great, but we've we played Tottenham pretty well. We played teams at the top of the table so far pretty well this year, and it's the teams that we were like, we can, like, we were just thinking we were going to walk through Burnley, and you and I were like, how do we lose? How do we lose this game? And that's exactly what happens. I think the players kind of go into it with that mentality as well. And I don't know if it's fatigue having to play so many games in such a tight window with adding Europe to it and going farther in the Carabao Cup than they have in a while, but they got to figure something out. Like, whereas the thing with West Ham that's different to me is just because we're Giants fans as well. It's so just desolate with the Giants right now and so depressing. It's like West Ham's up there. Like, we can figure this out. They can right this ship. I'm not concerned, but like, I don't have the panic button out on my desk.
No, but when they do underperform,
door open with the panic button in it.
But when they do underperform, it's almost like, dude, you were supposed to be the team that was saving my weekend. Like, why are you not performing as well?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, the two games we have coming up between now and next episode, Arsenal and Norwich, I'm more worried about the Norwich game because that's, if we are going to fuck up, that's going to be the game we're going to fuck up based on history.
Norwich is just so bad.
I hope so. I hope they're the team we just like smash
Burnley's
them.
not good, but Norwich is just, they're a walking relegation.
And they're the team that, this is why I hope we get a really good striker in January, because as much as I love him, and I feel bad for saying this, but I think the best position for Antonio to play is off the bench. Like, he needs to be the player that when their defenders have been playing hard for like 60, 65 minutes and they're starting to get tired.
They're gassed.
And then you're like,
get out of them, yeah.
Oh shit, they're bringing on that guy? Fuck. Like, that's the guy you bring on to destroy them in the last 20, 25 minutes with his pace and his size. I'm sure he doesn't want that position because he wants to start every game, which is fair. But I think that's his best position. So I would love to see someone strong coming in January. But my worry is now because of our injuries, I think, depending on how many we can get, I think now, because of our lack of defenders, our main focus is going to turn to signing a centre-back rather than a striker. And I'm a little bit worried that we're going to come out the January window without an extra striker.
I feel like we've got to go after a striker, though. I don't think we'll come away with a striker that we want, but I could see us. I think we have to come away with a striker.
What are your thoughts on, and I'm not saying we are linked with him because I haven't seen anything linking us to him, but apparently he wants to leave Man United. What's your thoughts on maybe Anthony Martial coming to West Ham? I think he could be an interesting one.
Honestly, I know he's good on FIFA. I know that. So by that logic, Mike Glenn was also good on Madden, though. So I don't know.
Well, I think that's anything to go by. We shouldn't sign Anthony Martial then.
I would rather get Lingard. I'd rather get Lingard from.
Well, but I want Lingard, but he's another attacking midfielder. We need someone who's a striker. Maybe we get that guy from, is it Sparta Prague, Loznik?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, that's the thing about soccer that's the hardest to me is, like, I don't follow the other leagues. So when it's like, yeah, I should know who the Martial guy is a little bit better, but I watch West Ham mostly, and then the NFL's been on Sundays, so I haven't really been watching other stuff. But I feel like I don't know enough about all the other leagues to where it's like, this guy, like, I have never heard of him, but yeah, okay, he seems cool. I didn't know who Alex Crowell was, and we were linked to him earlier, and I looked him up and was like, yeah, he looked cool.
What you need to do is do what everyone does on Twitter and just fake it, because it's hilarious whenever we get linked with someone from the Czech Republic's second division, and suddenly everyone's like, "Oh, I'm so hyped for this." It's like, you did not know who the fuck that guy is.
You follow second division Czech soccer? Okay, cool. Good to know.
Yeah, cool. Let me show you this YouTube compilation video that I found.
Yeah.
And now I'm sold on him.
Yeah, I saw that too, dude.
I remember the reason why I don't do that anymore, because I remember once when we signed a guy named, I don't know if you remember him, Tony. What was his name? Actually, he was in the squad when Tony Martinez. When we signed him, and I saw like a compilation video, and he was like scoring goals. You know what's it? Rabona, where they like flick their leg behind the other leg and cheekily kick it. He was scoring goals like that, and I was like, "Oh shit, we're gonna win the fucking league!" And then he came to us and don't think he scored a goal for us. Pathetic. So fuck YouTube and their compilation clips. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, Dynamo Zagreb. We're in the Europa League last 16. Good for the youth people. It was good for them to get a run. But the game was pretty fucking boring as well. That's my wrap up.
So there's not a draw for our final 16 yet because they have to do the playoff thing, and then we have a draw, right? Is that how it goes?
Right. We find out who we face in the next round. I think it's late January or early February. Because they have the playoffs in January, and then the 8 teams that win the playoffs go into the draw with West Ham.
Right. That makes sense.
So I'm kind of still secretly hoping we get Barcelona. That'd be pretty sweet.
I don't want Barcelona. No Barcelona for us.
Barcelona. So predictions: Arsenal, West Ham, away at Arsenal.
2-1.
Aubameyang.
2-1.
You going 2-1 West Ham win?
It'll be close. We eke it out at the end. Then Norwich, I think we win like 2-0. Right the ship. Time to right the ship, boys.
Some reason I feel London derby, Arsenal. I think it's got something like a 2-2 over it. But then we're gonna come out swinging home against Norwich, and I'm gonna go really rogue with my prediction. I'm gonna say Norwich go 1-0 up within the first 10 minutes, but the final result is we win like 4-1.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be one of those games. But I feel West Ham have to give me a heart attack. So I feel they're gonna score early, but then we're gonna come back and win the game.
All right, that makes sense.
Right, let's move on to more fun things, because obviously me and you, we do other things other than this fine podcast. We have our other podcasts. So tomorrow, new episodes of Waffle Box and Pass the Gravy come out. What have the fine people of the Gravy Gang got to look forward to on Pass the Gravy as you kind of look into the ether and you're kind of desperately trying to think of something to say, right?
No, we're going to talk about how mad everybody is at Elon Musk, and every year at Times Person of the Year or whatever it is. And it's like, you guys know they do this to you people to talk about it. We're going to discuss that. I think I could make a perfume commercial that's on par with all the ones that you see on TV that just make no sense. So I'll pitch my perfume ad. I'll talk
I don't
about
want to
how
spoil it, but is it just literally you just put fancy words in a bucket and then you just randomly pour them out?
You have to be dressed in something fancy. Like you have to be in like a tuxedo and like.
And you have like a wolf. You have to have a wolf walking next to you.
Well, yeah, just some exotic animal, like throw a giraffe in the desert with me in a tuxedo, and I'm just like there's a thunderstorm all of a sudden in the desert. Then it's like cologne,
and it's like you start in the
French
in the hat,
word,
and you have to
you'll
put
love
it like passion.
But no, the
chocolate.
Cologne doesn't have to be. Cologne or perfume has not got to be in it at all in any of the footage until the very end. But yeah,
like the Johnny Depp one where he's like randomly playing an electric guitar in the middle of the desert. What the fuck is that?
The Lady Gaga one where she just sings a weird song. You're like, I don't know what this is, but okay. We'll get into those kind of commercials. I think microwaves have too many buttons on them. I'll tell you why. And then all kinds of awesome stuff like that. We'll answer your questions and tell you what's not cool this week. And then if you are in the Houston area or you're not in the Houston area, maybe you want to come to the Houston area this week. And we got an awesome little shindig going down over at our beer sponsor, Southern Star Brewing Company, up in Conroe, 3525 North Fraser Street in Conroe, Texas. We have the 8th annual Pass the Gravy Christmas Spooktacular going down at the brewery. Ooh. We have live music from Kyle Garrett before. Then we're going to go on to a live podcast at 1:30 that includes our 2021 Gravies Awards. A lot of people say the Grammys are the biggest thing, but I really think the Gravies are probably bigger. Then we have music from Alexander. He's a new artist formerly known as Ian D'Artez of Hold on Hollywood. He's going to be closing things out. They got Santa Claus there. And then they have cage fighting. They have cage wrestling in the brewery at night. That's what you call a Saturday right there, Mike.
That's what you call the story of Christmas.
Saturday. Yeah, it's a damn Christmas miracle. So Christmas Spooktacular, our 8th annual one for Pass the Gravy, going down this Saturday, the 18th at Southern Star Brewing Company. Mike, what about Waffle Box? What do we got to look forward there?
Well, on Waffle Box, we actually go a little bit more deeper into the Formula One controversy, which is fun, which is basically me explaining how Formula One works to Kush for 20 minutes, which is fun. And then we talk about Peloton fighting back against those damn Sex and the City bitches.
Those whores. Big didn't die from Peloton. Chill out.
Which is quite funny. The juxtaposition of Ryan Reynolds last year making the headlines for making the anti-Peloton ad, and now this time they've hired him to save their fucking asses.
How the tables turn.
How the tables turn. And then we talk about the Golden Globes. Their nominations came out, and I just boo them, the damn Hollywood foreign press, for a little while. And then we wrap things up talking about the wholesome family special that was on ABC of like Family Matters and all that good shit they brought us back.
Oh, nice.
It's fun stuff. So yeah, check that out. Go to Pass the Gravy Pod on all the social media platforms. Go to Waffle Box Pod on all those social media platforms as well. And of course, even though you might not get it before Christmas unless you do the fast shipping, but whatever. Go to merch.cbbpod.com to get some really cool shit, including the Viva the Dimes Christmas sweater. If you're not going to be getting Christmas,
you'll have it ready for next year. It'll be perfect.
Get all the whatever. And of course, just since it's my show and I can cross promote, go to wafflemerch.com and go get those Waffle Box shirts and stuff that donates all the proceeds to dog shelters, because we love dogs on this show. Wrap up some live comments. We've got Axo, who needs Morgan Freeman's voice when you got Mike's voice? Hell yeah. And Dina Hill says, Vok Tech. Loving these bots joining us tonight. Thanks for joining us. Padding out our numbers.
Talking about robots last week, and that's probably what it is.
Trying to take over. So we've got. How many did we have tonight? We had like 3.
Too many.
Lydia. Why are they always women's names? Lydia.
Yeah, they know that you'll click on it.
Emma. I did see there was one. I knew it was if it was on this show or Waffle Box, but I did see like one of the comments on YouTube, and it was just literally. Like, I'm single, come talk to me. Like,
well, all right, baby.
But what's really sad is that the fact that they do that, there are people that go, oh shit, she needs my help. And they fall for that shit. It's kind of scary. But, or maybe that's just a new dating sensation. Maybe I'm been out the loops too long. Maybe that's how people are meeting people, through YouTube comments. I don't know.
New Tinder.
Alex O says, how do you know I'm not a bot?
Oh, we know, buddy. I met you.
That. And also, does a robot own a truck with Rudolph nose on it? No. Not yet.
True.
Unless Elon Musk has designed one.
Now they probably are.
It's like Terminator drove a truck, actually. So, no, maybe he is.
So, yeah, they do.
Anyway. Hey, so yeah, thanks for joining us. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can see my face. And you want to listen to us instead, go to all the Spotify podcast platforms, cbbpod.com. You can check out all the links of how you can enjoy us, either visually or audibly. Again, check out Pass the Gravy Pod and Waffle Box Pod on those, so you can check out more of us. But if you are listening to us audibly, hey, show your faces. Interact with us live. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central every Tuesday. Come and say hi. Join the bots. Join Alex. Join John. It's all a fun time. But until then, of course, don't forget.
Seahorses forever.
See you next Tuesday.